Boops are eternal. Boop the Snoot. Chapter 8.5. Stranger-ish, danger-ish. Shit. Well, walking into the castle, reality suddenly hit you full force. Most of Ponyville, plus basically the entire guard was gonna be living here. For a while. How high was that tower suite again? Lethal, at least, right? Okay, maybe you don't have to really go that far, but aside from Luna, you did mean it when you said you'd lay off of the booping. Aside from dickhead. Alright, look, it's a work in progress. You sound like you're trying to get over some kind of drug or something, which it would make sense, actually, considering the dopamine rush and...
Anon, I just realized,
Yeah, Twilight, I know. How effective are passable shield spells again?
Not very. Most need to be actively charged to actually stop anything from getting through. Or, you know, let air through and all.
So, duct tape you to my back?
You were only ever getting away with that once.
It was fun, though, and hey, don't deny it.
I plead the fifth.
That's not in your nation's laws, and you don't even have an official constitution either.
It wasn't yours, and as far as I'm concerned, you're technically an endangered species, not a real citizen.
Still, that technically makes me a visitor, and subject to your nation's laws anyway.
How come one moment you're a complete idiot, and the next you're actually trying to be smart?
Well, first, don't avoid my statement. Second, I choose to be ignorant. Thank you very much.
That explains a lot.
Hey, they all say that. You and Twilight managed to make considerable distance in the castle by Metal Gearing your way around, or, well, in other terms, she walked ahead, told you there was a guard there, and then you'd wait like a stealth game character until they moved, or just hid behind Twilight and abused their can't look at a princess vision to your advantage. You were pretty proud of yourself, especially since you'd be able to find refuge in one of the legendary castle suites. Not a tower, sadly, which, according to Twilight, was actually pretty Spartan, and that meant to get you out into the city, especially from the various ambassadors so that you could appreciate the culture. In other terms, love our country and go outside, you shut in. You like their style. Still, it didn't explain how all the poor folk in Ponyville were supposed to survive out here, but they'd find a way. Equestria was probably richer than all of Switzerland's banks combined. That thought alone made you shiver a bit. They could probably buy everything off of you, including your underwear. Personal note, never take a bribe. They're probably actually buying the rights you put into a petting zoo or something. You should probably look this up for later. If you remember, which you probably won't. Actually, wait, where are you again? Oh, right, okay, outside the room. So, for some reason, every bone in your body was screaming at you not to turn the knob, but you like to live dangerously, so you do it anyways. The first thing you see when you go through is 3 sets of eyes. And regret. Mini-Bat, Dickhead, and... Oh, hey, it's Steve! Hey, you thought he retired. Man, it's always nice to see him around. Oh yeah, the other 2 were there, remember? Mini-Bat's eyes do that thing again. Powering up into a morph ball covering ears. You're not going back to that fucking hospital, man. Twilight could probably define what she saw was just as, confusing. Anon just opened the door and entered the fetal position, just with his hands over his ears. He hit the ground pretty hard, too. She probably should have asked him if he was okay, but there were voices coming from the room. He would be okay. Probably...
Oh, come on, Knight! I thought you were gonna give him a proper apology, not give him a heart attack! I couldn't help it, I got excited. This is why nobody trusts the Night Guard with anything. Oh, buck you, dickhead! You couldn't handle it. Wait, where did you learn that? I have my sources.
There was a snort followed by a moment of silence.
I can't hear you.
And Anon probably had PTSD or something, if she could guess. Are you 2 done? Wait. He knew that voice. 'Cause I'm pretty sure the stallion on the ground there needs some help. That was... Steve. He sounded as old as he was now, weirdly enough. It was funny. The last thing she'd heard, he got transferred from the library with a promotion. And that's when he grows up. The world was unfair. He was probably the only reason why she couldn't enter the forbidden section of the library as a filly. And actually, it was probably for the best. Man, actually, no, why did every pony know Steve, and why did he improve all of their lives? Actually, man, some questions are just better left unanswered, but other questions are better posed.
Steve? Is that you?
Twilight all but rushes into the room, making most ponies present jump wildly. Except for Steve, of course. Princess Twilight! Always a pleasure. Ignore these two. They think that freaking out Anon is a crime or something. They both were shaking wildly, but that didn't matter right now.
So, how have you been? I haven't seen you in ages.
Oh, just keeping my heartbeat steady, as usual. Past 6 months have been nice. The Equestrian military is very generous with its retirement pay.
Wait, retirement?
Steve couldn't retire. That was not allowed. Plus, it was punishable by complaining. Yeah, the little run-in with her green friend over there made me reconsider how long my heart would last me. Well, other than my lungs. I think the higher-ups knew how important I was to some ponies. He fixed Twilight with a pointed gaze. So, they tried to give me a nice desk job and keep me going. Of course, I left, eventually, too little action. I probably would have taken something in the Empire if they offered it. Still, I had to slow myself down as well, so... yeah, they probably went with the safe bet. I mean, still, they couldn't hold my young soul for that long. By Celestia, he sounded much older and wiser than the goofy forbidden guard she knew once. Still, he wasn't allowed to retire yet.
But... you can't.
Well, I already did. As I said, 6 months. Found a new hobby, or a couple hobbies, like keeping these two from killing each other. Twilight was completely baffled. How could he? He was Steve. He wasn't allowed to change.
But...
A minute, please. Steve got up from the edge of Anon's bed, making his way towards the two guards who had now migrated to the corner of a room. The two who were also glaring and whisper-yelling at each other, as they had murderous intents. She probably should have noticed that. Oh, and Anon was freaking out, wasn't he? An ear swiveled in his direction.
My world's on fire. How about yours? That's the way I like it, and I never get bored.
She made the executive decision to focus on the rest of the room for now.
Alright, you two, knock it off. I'm gonna get the stallion over there on his feet, and when I do, you two are gonna stay perfectly still and perfectly quiet. Got it?
The two guards started to shake for a moment before splitting up and going to the opposite sides of the room. Steve just turned back to Twilight with a smile. See? I don't even need to separate them anymore. I've got them terrified. He let out a jovial laugh before making his way over to Anon. The two guards grimaced. He just laughed. Naturally. Who was this and what did they do to Steve?
Staying alive.
Something was trying to ratchet one of your hands from your ears.
Staying alive!
Both of your hands have been removed and you're pinned elbows down. Whoever this was, they have ungodly strength.
Staying alive!
You can't even focus on the distraction music anymore and started fidgeting wildly to protect and prevent any more ear destruction. Anon, for land's sake, stop freaking out like that! Wait, that was Steve. Alright, stop the presses. Wait, what? Wait, Steve, you gotta run! Save your precious pony ears! She's not gonna scream. Calm down. Why would I calm down? Why would I calm down? You're yelling! Only because you're yelling, you idiot! You won't listen any other way! That was a good point. You promptly put a sock in it and stop fidgeting. Steve takes a sigh of relief before climbing off of you. For Pete's sake, Anon, are you really that scared of going back to the hospital? Yes, I am. They give you drugs that make everything hurt. Then you have literally nothing to do and just start to get a bit loopy. Good point. Cancer lot wants healthy patients, not long-staying ones. I know. Bastards fixed 4 broken hooves of mine with only the burning stuff. Pretty sure one of them put a silent spell on me at one point. Steve is literally the best horse, and nothing can convince you otherwise, even if you get sick of him from time to time. Maybe you should have visited him. Then none of this would have happened. Ugh, hindsight is a bitch. Revenge? What kind? The kind where if you see one of the ponies who tormented you, you promptly chase them while screaming like a banshee?
What if I just keep you out of trouble and you do it for the both of us?
Deal. A pact made in blood. A pact of brothers. A pact made in boops which he promptly dodged before his own hoof landed on your nose. You both take a moment to laugh it off.
I am not letting you do that to my poor lungs ever again.
What? Got sick for the 5th time?
Anon, I think I was coughing up blood for at least a week.
No regrets, no regrets. Your chuckles died down and he sticks out a hoof, which you use to stumble to your feet.
Anon, what? What?
Twilight was stammering like she'd seen something inconceivable. It does make you giggle a bit. I'm not a complete antisocial mess, just like 95% of one. Oh, and Stevie here. He was patient 0 for the whole trick I tried earlier. I've been talking to him ever since, even if most of our talking had been in letter form. You promptly turn to Steve and shake your head slowly. He gives you a funny look, and you nod. She's a freak. You can say that again.
What? Hey!
Twilight's indignation only fuels your growing amusement.
Twilight, you were the filly who intentionally tried to sneak into the forbidden section every single week, like clockwork, and at the exact same time every time. I don't think that's an incorrect statement.
You had to cover your mouth to stop yourself from laughing, as Twilight's face started to redden.
Anyway, what were you all doing here, waiting for Anon?
Great seg, books, but you'd like to know. He almost immediately turns to you instead, something that Twilight gets a bit puffy-cheeked about.
Oh, that, yeah. Mrs. Eardrum Killer over there felt like her apology wasn't enough, and considering your self-described mental state, I don't think that's an incorrect statement either.
You shrug, but not anyways.
As long as she doesn't make the internet look like ear surgery, I'll be fine. The what? I'll tell you later, Steve.
He nods and gets back to it.
And Mr. I'll leave the naming to you, Anon. They wanted to give you some advice about avoiding the guard. Frankly, I think he just wants a promotion and another one of your tricks, but I'll leave that up to you.
I'm laying off the boops. Earlier attempts, not included. Steve just snorted.
I'd like to see you last a week.
Hey, I'm gonna try and actually be social instead of just substituting it all for boops and laughter.
As I said, a week.
Twilight makes another what is happening noise, which you both ignore. You just shake your head and sigh. Anyways, what'd you come here for, other than catching up?
Well, keeping those two from killing each other, or you during the process, mostly. They keep getting paired together during missions, and they started to have arguments about you, which moved on to uglier things. I'd know before I moved on to greener pastures. I kept getting noise complaints sent to my office, or one of them barging in and ranting about the other.
You honestly couldn't stop a few laughs from leaving you there. You just hear a few grumbles coming from inside the room. You let the laughter die off for a moment before eventually moving inside. Taking a seat on the edge of the bed, you can confirm how Spartan it is. A desk, an empty balcony, a bathroom, a wardrobe, and a bed. That's basically it. With no fancy embellishments, just this. At least the bed was made out of the essence of memory foam and was king-sized for human standards. Of course, all that empty space makes the presence of Dickhead in lightly armored golden attire staring out the balcony door and a mini bat brooding in a dark corner quite noticeable. Now, which demon did you go after first? Well, technically one of them really acted or looked like a demon. Christ, Minibat was getting all dejected now, ears down, drooping over. She knows that you're watching. Fuck, you had to do her first. You hated these ponies when they got sad. You just couldn't keep yourself bitter. You didn't want to do this, but you had to. You sigh and gesture over to Steve to the Minibat. He rolls his eyes but goes over to retrieve her anyways. You have about 30 seconds to reconsider your life choices, but all you can do is complain internally, but not externally, because you're not a pussy. And you don't think you could deal with another depressed pony, instead of just a sad one. Ponies are... they're too emotional. Granted, humans bottle it up inside until they blow, but Fuck it, you're gonna enjoy this hug. Oh, right, Miss Minibat here, or Night Vision, a name that made Twilight scoff, for whatever reason, just had about poured her heart out to you. And then the tears started. That went right for the fucking heart with poison-laced serrated daggers. So, you offered her a hug. She'd been in this position, latched onto your chest, for about 10 minutes. Ponies are soft, and for whatever reason, the moment you went for ear and chin scratches on this one, she got really happy. You know, instead of going all dog mode. But how were you gonna get her off now, though? Wait it out. That seemed like the only answer. Interesting thing, you got a good look at her, even in this position. Her eyes were green, of all things, which, with the name and all, but the rest of her shtick was just blue. Dark blue coat, a few cobalt streaks in the mane, with the rest taking any other shade of blue that would fit, usually dark. It reminded you of a cheesy sci-fi PMC, just being honest. And she was wearing a mini for gown pony standards. It was adorable. Whatever job she had, it was probably infiltration. Are you done?
5 more minutes.
I think Dickhead wants to talk to me. If I leave him for another minute, I think he's gonna kill something. Yeah, he was staring out the window like he spotted the exact pony who insulted his hamster of a mother. She has a little snicker, but ends up shaking off your chest to take a spot onto the bed next to you. And with perfect timing, Steve brings Dickhead over to you. He deserves a friendship raise. Exactly as the prophecy foretold, Dickhead looked kinda pissed. Not at you, though, just more like at reality. Are you okay there, bud? He jumps halfway out of said reality.
Yes, I'm perfectly fine.
From personal experience, he wasn't fine in the slightest. Plus, his gaze was centered squarely on a certain guest, instead of you. Bullshit. What's up? You hear Knight lose a lung next to you, as Dickhead freezes like a deer in the headlights. Don't you fucking do my thing. What the hell is going on? Knight just lost her oxygen tank.
Oh, shut up, Nighty Whitey!
Her laughter comes to an abrupt stop with a snort, and she leans over to your legs to give the man a death stare. So, what? Did these two just become, like, horrible people when in each other's presence? If so, you need to keep them together as much as possible.
I told you, don't call me that! Don't call you what, Nighty?
Steve clears his throat from the corner, and they both freeze in place. You take your turn to lose control of your diaphragm, and probably puncture something again. Alright, you two, cut it out. I get that your arguments over anything feel much easier with him there, but please, for the love of Celestia, don't give the man a reason nor the ability to do anything horrible. I saw the look in his eyes. I think he's gonna rope you two together or something. Fuck Steve, but he's also the best. Knight promptly gets beckoned over to Steve, and she doesn't wait a moment before taking off. Dickhead, on the other hand, is now completely lost. So, it's up to you. Alright, so I heard that you were gonna give me some tips or something? Like, tell me your name, traveler, before I trust thee with giving the knowledge to one who has learned from the twin snakes? He gives you the "are you high" look. You nod slowly. He looks at the floor and mouths okay to himself. After some coaxing, the dude started talking, and man, he felt like one of those people who have like a reason to hate everything but with logic to back it up. But they never admit it. And plus, while he could keep a really cool head, he also had a temper that you didn't want to fuck with. Plus, he was a battle mage, so you double didn't want to fuck with him. It took some light joke cracking to keep him on the straight and narrow, but he did give you some nice tips. For instance, if a guard sees you and wants to get at you, just run. Gold is really fucking heavy when they put on enough of it to enchant and to actually block a blow. Oh, and the mention of a princess, they'll have an aneurysm. Yeah, you're gonna abuse those ones a lot. When you got to properly talking to him though, he actually wasn't that much of a dickhead, he just didn't trust anything that he's told, unless he's seen it for himself. Apparently, he visits the library often enough to research things that they just started letting him stay overnight, not to mention the special passes and whatnot. So, a brainy guard, yeah. Yeah, you can see him getting a promotion. This man, as a general, would roll over any army. You'd play him in 0 hour. So, using his name instead of Dude or Dickhead would be nice. It was actually Golden Spice, which fit pretty well, considering. He looked a lot like he sounded, actually. Mane was a mess with like reds and oranges, eyes and magic were as gold as the Emperor's breastplate, though the rest of him looked like a weaker but slightly brighter version of those, like the usual darker day guards. Apparently, like a lot of the guards, some of his appearance looked close to one of the possible enchantments on the armor. It was just a coincidence as well, and that was one more thing for the research list. Oh yeah, and his coat was thick as hell, and not soft in the slightest. You wanted a refund, and obviously, he was defective. Though, still, you weren't gonna stop calling him Spicy anytime soon, because even if he told you that everyone just calls him Gold, you could literally call any day guard that. Books would teach him how to handle it, because she was the second best. You weren't sorry. She'd agreed that Steve is probably the best pony alive. Ish. Oh yeah, and another tip that he threw at you. Apparently, they took out the eye enchantment in the disguise helmet to replace with a shield instead. A good way to find out quickly who they are without a voice, and apparently, he'd been on a few stealth missions where that was crucial. You didn't really ask. So, anyway. Present-wise, he was sitting next to you now, giving the room a weird sweep-over. You hoped it was for secret passages, and you wanted to be the snuggler outlaw. Oh, and you weren't still sure if you hated him because he told you that booping wasn't illegal. Bastard. You're gonna get him back for that. Knight would probably help you. Probably. If Steve wasn't currently poisoning her with lies about you, that is. Alright. It was getting dark now. Twilight had gone somewhere to eat dinner with her apparently present friends, which she tells you last minute, of course, and Steve had called it for the night, since it was apparently a long trek to his house from here. Man, you seriously feel bad for those poor Earth ponies. Still, you would somehow manage to tame the remaining two, with Knight being curled up onto your lap, and Spicy having a calm discussion with you about the differences between military tactics and strategy, and how the higher-ups could use newer technology to their advantage. The guy was really fucking smart, and his eyes widened like a puppy's when he told him about the wonders of gunpowder when combined with a metal blue ball inside of a tube. So, yeah, you probably just started the workup towards World War I, but Pony Edition, but you could deal with that later. It was worth it to see a guard have a meltdown that didn't involve boobs, and by Shore's bones, you weren't being an antisocial lump of flesh. Oh, you had friends that weren't mandated by the state. You were still pissy about when Rainbow ran her mouth, but, I mean, still, you had friends. And it was still dark. Oh, yeah, you're tired. Oh, yeah, tired. Oh, fuck, you want to sleep for 3 days. Man, I've got to get some research going on this. It could save a lot of lives if used correctly. Yeah, and kill a lot too, don't forget. Yeah, I heard you the first time. Still, I think I'll get back to you later on this. I'd kind of like to figure out a lot about this myself, you know? Thrill of the hunt, I guess. You snicker at that. Well, I didn't know herbivores could get this whole thrill of the hunt thing, but go straight ahead. I'll be here to tell you if your ideas are dumb. I don't think Celestia herself could keep you from doing that. Damn fucking right, but because I'm a lazy fuck and I don't like grading homework, look outside the window. He pauses for a moment to throw you a look, but soon follows your master plan. And, judging by his following expression, he could probably read the sky like a clock. Wait, shit. It's that late already? Okay, I'll see you around, okay? I mean, I got nowhere else to go right now, so hunt me down whenever. The man throws you a quick play salute before rushing out the door. Okay, so now what do you do about the bat in your lap? Yeah, that rhymed. No, you're not letting yourself be that tired yet. You're trying to poke her in the sides a couple of times, but she just fidgets a bit and makes sleepy complaining noises before burying herself deeper into your lap. Somehow, you think that this'll only get worse. Hey, fuck it. Sleepy Snuggles, let's go. She'll probably wake up later for her shift anyways. Probably. You promptly let your body fall backwards and start to squirm your ways towards the pillows. Sure, you're gonna sleep fully clothed, but you also had an unprompted guest. And anybody who sleeps with a new friend and isn't wearing pajamas or something equally covering is automatically a creep. And that's just science! You eventually manage to get the pillows and promptly hike your head on top of one. And by the gods, they're soft. Perfect in any way imaginable. In fact, you could probably fall asleep. Night is moving. She interrupts your perfect state. Forgiveness revoked. You're a man who values proper sleep above reality itself. You almost got the chance to complain, but the little bastard just moves onto your chest and settles down. She was never sleeping, was she? Yeah, her breathing was really erratic. Damn your tired state, man. I mean, it was fine as long as she didn't move again. Everything would be perfectly fine. As long as the pact of comfort was forged and respected, all would be good in the universe. You know, Night Vision knew one thing to be true. This job would be a breeze. If she got to it, that is. Yeah, the events probably wasn't going to look good on the resume, but he forgave her? It was a work in progress, at least. Just best to enjoy the rest while she had it. Probably wasn't the best to think about it too much. I mean, she got stuck with the daytime shift anyways, so would her sleep schedule be screwed up? Absolutely. Would she be completely unfit if they suddenly got ambushed during her usual operating hours? Definitely. Was this worth it? Probably. She could report back to Luna that he arrived safely at least, so that was a bonus, right? Somehow she wasn't exactly hopeful, though.